All right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. Talking Auburn football, doing a preview of Auburn versus Georgia. Go ahead if you can feel compelled to leave a Cash App. Kennard Vernon Stewart. Well, no, Kennard Stewart. $ Kennard Stewart. KENNARD STEWART on Cash App. I appreciate all the Auburn fans who have left Cash Apps to the channel. Also want to give a big shout out to all the other Auburn content creators who are doing their thing. Go ahead and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Auburn, obviously, a huge challenge coming into this football game against Georgia. Since the South Carolina game, Georgia has not allowed a touchdown. They played lights out on defense. So Auburn is definitely going to have to figure out a way to win the field position battle, which these teams have not won, obviously. Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter is going to be a definite focal point, as well as the tight ends are going to be a focal point in this football game to give Auburn a chance, considering you got a brand new head coach in Brian Harsin that has not had the opportunity to recruit on the level that Kirby Smart has done over the past years that he has been the head coach. So it's going to be a challenge. I think it's going to be a huge challenge. One name you're going to hear about a lot is Nakobe Dean. I think Nakobe Dean is one of the best defensive players in the country and is going to continue to apply pressure to this Auburn football team. And Auburn is going to definitely have to utilize the tight end to loosen this defense up. These guys play with a lot of tenacity. They play with a lot of fire. And my favorite part about the Georgia defense is, one, they know they outclass most of the teams that they play. And what they like to do is, while the quarterback is in his cadence, they like to motion their defensive line right before the play. And that has caused a lot of penalties for the opposing team, a lot of illegal motions, a lot of things of that nature. So that's one of the heartburns that you're going to find with this Georgia defense. Not only are they talented and probably don't even have to do this improvisation, but they do it. And they do it, and they do it very effectively. So here's what I think has to happen, and we're going to do the prediction show for Auburn tomorrow. But here's what I think has to happen. Number one, Bo Nix has to continue to be effective with his feet. He's very well in motion, but he also has to have some congruency with he and the wide receiver position. Number two, Auburn has to also establish some type of running game, because if you look at the LSU game, Bo Nix was the leading passer and the leading rusher in that game. You got to get Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter involved if Auburn is going to have a chance. Also, what I noticed in the Georgia versus Arkansas game is Auburn has to find a way to not necessarily win the field position battle, but they definitely have to at least manage that battle, because Arkansas spent pretty much most of their game against Georgia in minus territory, and also Auburn spent most of their time in minus territory against LSU. Fortunately, Auburn was able to come out defensively and did relatively well with forcing a lot of field goals, things of that nature. That, because if you look at Auburn, they found themselves in a position to where LSU got up 13-0, and to win that football game, Auburn actually outscored LSU 24-6 to finish that ball game. But I just don't think they're going to have that same kind of luck against a very balanced Georgia football team this weekend. A couple of things that Auburn has in their favor. Number one, they got the crowd. It's going to be a very loud environment. This is going to be a very challenging environment for Georgia, which they haven't faced all year. And it's going to be imperative for the Georgia Bulldogs to keep the turnovers at bay, to play very well like they have been on special teams, to really dominate this particular football game like we think they should. However, Auburn, when you come down to Jordan-Hare Stadium, they do a really good job of just keeping their ground. I think, Auburn definitely has to continue to find ways to get the ball to the tight end, has to find ways to run the football with Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter. But this defense is not necessarily the type of defense that bends on that type of situation. So what I think has to happen, Mike Bobo and Brian Harsin, they have to figure out a way to get the ball in space. They have to throw the ball vertically downfield. They have to take advantage of the hashes. And they really have to find a way to get this Georgia defense off balance. Because if you give this Georgia defense the opportunity to have their way, and that's to keep everything in front and keep everything simple with the talent that they have, it could be a long night. This is part one of the Auburn versus Georgia preview. Got some more coming tomorrow. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.